In 1860, Australia was a vast, untamed land, full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. Two men, Robert O'Hara Burke and William John Wills, set out on a daring mission to cross the continent from south to north, from Melbourne to the Gulf of Carpentaria. Known as the Burke and Wills Expedition, it was a huge event. Imagine streets packed with cheering crowds, flags waving, and a team of 19 men loaded with camels, horses, and tons of supplies. Burke, a bold Irish policeman with a fiery temper, was the leader. Wills, a calm, smart surveyor, was his second in command, tasked with mapping the route. Their goal? To be the first to conquer Australia's wild heart. The expedition started with big dreams, but things went wrong fast. Burke wasn't much of a planner. He argued with his men and made odd choices, like packing heavy tables and fancy clothes instead of extra food. By the time they reached Menindee, a tiny outpost in the dusty outback, the team was falling apart. Some quit, others grumbled, and supplies were running low. Burke, impatient to keep moving, decided to split the group. He took Wills, John King, Charles Gray, and a handful of camels and horses, leaving the rest behind to push north. The outback was no joke. Days burned hotter than an oven. Nights froze them to the bone, and the red desert stretched forever. They crossed swollen rivers, battled flies, and dodged venomous snakes. The men grew tired. Their boots wore thin, and the camels groaned under heavy loads. Still, they pressed on, driven by grit and hope. In February 1861, after months of struggle, they reached a mangrove swamp near the Gulf of Carpentaria. They didn't see the sea, but they'd done it. Crossed Australia. For a moment, they were heroes. But the way back was a nightmare. They were out of food and their bodies were breaking down. Charles Gray died, too weak to go on. Burke, Wills, and King staggered back to Cooper's Creek, where they'd left a base camp with supplies. Bad luck struck again. The camp team, thinking they were dead, had left just hours earlier, burying some food under a tree marked Dig. The trio found it, but it wasn't enough. They tried eating plants and even killed a camel, but hunger tightened its grip. The Yandrawanda, local Aboriginal people, saw their struggle and offered fish and nardoo, a plant they knew how to prepare. Burke, scared and stubborn, didn't trust them and scared them off with a gunshot. That mistake cost them dearly. Alone, the men grew weaker. By June 1861, Wills died by the creek, too frail to move. Burke followed days later, collapsing under a tree. King, barely alive, was found by the Yandrawanda, who cared for him until a rescue team arrived. The expedition failed, but Burke and Wills became legends. Their story, brave, flawed, and heartbreaking, showed the world how fierce Australia's outback could be. It taught respect for the land and its people, and their names live on in statues, songs, and history books.